Hello, welcome back to Steve's Retirement Corner. Taking gains and RMDs. Hey man, that Friday, I don't know, a week or so ago, the last Friday of May, I took some gains off the table. The market's been going gangbusters, and I've made pretty near what I'm gonna take out as a distribution next year. So I shifted it from my stock fund into my cash fund. Lock it in. It does a lot of things for me, you know. It first off, it gives me peace of mind. I don't really have to worry about what the market does the rest of the year. You know, next year it doesn't affect what next year for us financially. We can live just as well then next year as we did this year, no matter what the market does from here on out. You know, and the fact that it's all gains, makes it pretty much free money. You know, because technically it ain't coming out to my original stash. You know, so I'm not actually losing anything. And it gives me dry powder, man. It gives me a little bit more dry powder in case the market does tank. You know, when I can buy on sale and catch the run up, and it helps me get back to even. It doesn't really make any money, but it helps shorten my break-even time. You know, it might take me a year to get back even, but if I roll my cash money into the stock fund, and that increases the shares I got. So I break even, then I split it back up. I don't know. I ain't telling nobody to do this. It's just the way I handle it. Which, by the way, I'm gonna do a video on my 401 and how I'm using it for everything. I haven't done one on it in a couple of years. I did last time I did it, I made a playlist of all the major topics of retirement, what I was looking at and how I dealt with it. You know, your Social Security, health insurance, my 401 distributions, junk like that, taxes. I think it's on my, you can look on the playlist. I think it's called Steve's Retirement Cheat Sheet. Just give you an idea of what I was dealing with the day I retired. But I'll do that later on. I don't know, a week or so, I guess. But as far as the RMDs, hey man, I know what you're saying, man. I can hear you saying it. Man, you're just a young puppy, man. You got 15 years before you got to worry about RMDs. And you're right, but you're wrong too, because it's all due to the way I'm able to get my money from my 401, which it's a rollover IRA now, but it's all due to the way I was able to get money out of my 401 when I still had it in that 401, in order to avoid the 10% early withdrawal penalty. You know, they do the only option I had to avoid that 10% early withdrawal penalty was a 10-year payout. That's why I know that I got enough money to make it to Social Security. I mean, they're going to give me a certain amount of money every year for 10 years, from 57 to 67 was 10 years. Nothing I do is, very little that I did wasn't forced upon me. To put it that way, it was easy to look at, and you could figure it out. It wrote itself. But what they do is they take your the amount you got in there and divide it by the number of years left you have to withdraw, and that's the amount they give you. So, I mean, I couldn't take out any more, but I couldn't take out any less either. I mean, I was set at that amount. So the first 3 years of my retirement, I was subject to RMDs, you could say. It's not the same way they do RMDs, but it's similar, and it kind of gives me an idea of how our RMDs work and how they can sneak up on you and burn your butt later on. They can sure push you out of into a higher tax bracket if you ain't careful with it. Because mine, I think mine has averaged a 15% increase each year. Just because the market's been going gangbusters. Ain't nothing I did except stay invested. That market's been going gangbusters, and I've got a little more now in my rollover IRA than I had the day I retired. So more money, shorter years means your distribution's going up. So, and it would have put us in the 22 this year if I'd have took it. If I hadn't rolled it into that IRA last year at 59.5. This is the first year I haven't been subject to that. So, and I did something totally different this year because I had an opportunity pop up last year that I took this year. So I'll do a video about that too. But take your gains when you get them, and keep an eye on them RMDs. They might not ever bother you, but I've seen how it could throw you into a loop when the time comes, because my RMDs have went up about 15% a year the 3 years I was in, that I was subject to them. So, but anyways, man, I'm gonna put the mower up. I just finished cutting grass. I had to run over. My little lady had something going on. She needed a hand with. I run over yonder. But it's darn near dinner time now, so I'm gonna go in the house and give me a bite to eat. I live off by my days are subject to meal times. But y'all take care, man. And, make it a great week. And we'll talk to y'all later. See if I can do this without hitting the hand in front of the camera.